أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Honorable panel members, Professor Muhammad Mumtaz Ali, Professor Dr. Muhammad Tahir Al-Musawi, both of them from AHAS KIR KHS IIUM, and Professor Dr. Professor Dr. Akram Zaki from KICT IIUM. Professors, doctors, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem. Welcome to Centris Sharing Session Series number 3, a tribute to Al-Marhum Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan, with the area of focus Professor Kamal as a scholar. I am Nurjana Hassan, your host for today. Al-Marhum Emeritus Professor Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan left us and peacefully returned to the mercy of Ar-Rahman at about 2:30 a.m. Thursday, 3rd Sha'ban 1444 Hijrah, 23rd February 2023. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his shortcomings, reward him for his tremendous and momentous contributions, and elevate his status in Jannatul Firdaus to be among Anbiya, Shuhada, and those closest to him. Ameen. In remembrance of Allah Yarhamhu, let us all quietly recite the Kitab for him, for our teachers, our elders and colleagues who have gone before us. Al-Fatiha. Ameen. I invite Brother Shahrul Hizam bin Izhar of Centris IIUM to recite a short dua. Welcome, Ustaz.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وله الحمد في الآخرة وهو الحكيم الخبير والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم أنت ربنا لا إله إلا أنت خلقتنا ونحن عبادك ونحن على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعنا نعوذ بك من شر ما صنعنا نبوء لك بنعمتك علينا ونبوء بذنوبنا فاغفر لنا فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت آمين. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهم كما ربونا صغارا آمين. والجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا اللهم ارزقنا علما نافعا وانفعنا بما علمتنا اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم بارك لنا في رمضان وبلغنا ليلة القدر اللهم اجعل خير أعمالنا آخره وخير أعمالنا خواتمه وخير أيامنا يوم ألقاك فيه اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you very much, Ustaz. Indeed, the passing of Professor Kamal Hassan has been a great loss to the Muslim world and to the IIUM. Many of us are still grappling with the fact that he is no longer physically around, that we can just drop by for a consultation and be received by his warm welcome. On the prompt by Dato Hamidon, the Director of Centris, the Office for Integration, Islamization and Relevantization OFIR organizes a series of 4 sharing sessions as a tribute to the most significant founding father and philosophical pioneer of the IIUM. Leaders come and they go. However, Prof. Kamal left us with a legacy that cannot be foregone, for his is a visionary message of holistic and comprehensive ummatic reformation, grounded in the worldview of the Quran and Sunnah, bringing the ummah back on the trajectory of Tawheed, in Aqidah, Sharia and Akhlaq, in the self, in education, in our practices, in fact, in all aspects of our life, professionalism and vocation as Ibadur Rahman and Khulafa Allah on earth. Anchored on the purity of the spiritual heart, bringing us to the future of Islam and that of the Ummah. Islamization of the self as a necessary prerequisite for Islamization of human knowledge, integration, relevantization of Islamic revealed knowledge, and matters pertaining to the heart are among the main focus of Professor Kamal's discourses, which covers such a variety of fields from spirituality to the natural and applied sciences and architecture, from education to management and leadership, etc., and to Islamicized futures studies. In fact, his message is a continuation of the legacies of earlier Islamic figures, tracing back to earlier contemporary figures such as Maududi, Sayyid Qutb, Hamka, Yusuf al-Qaradawi, to the classical scholars of Islam like Al-Ghazali, up to the Risalah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His discourses weave through Western thoughts and contemporary issues of the world, with classical and contemporary narratives of the fundamentals of Islam with such ease and finesse that are epitome of par excellence. The objective of the 4 sessions is far from idolizing our father, Prof. Kamal, a towering figure who bent down low in humility, but to revitalize his message, which he lived to exemplify as excellent models, priceless lessons, and exceptional examples for us to emulate and to take on further. The first session that took place on March 24th focused on Prof. Kamal as a Murabbi. The second, on April 7th, brought our attention to Prof. Kamal as IIUM's 3rd rector. Today's session will concentrate on Al-Marhum as a visionary scholar whose medium of jihad was by his remarkable intelligence and akhlaq, impeccable speech, and profound writings. We welcome if anyone online would like to write some remarks on the chat box for which we can share while for me to read your remarks later on. We are now in round 1 of the discussion. Prof. Dr. Muhammad Mumtaz Ali, he is from Hyderabad, a senior professor at the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion, KIRKH IIUM. He began his career as an assistant professor at the IIUM in 1987 and has remained loyal to the university to this day. His areas of interest include humanities and religious and Islamic studies. Professor Mumtaz, in 10 minutes, could you please describe the influence of Prof. Kamal, the visionary scholar, in your works as life as an academic over the 36 years of your service at the IIUM? Prof?
Okay, Dr. Noor Jannah, thank you very much for inviting me as one of the panelists. It is an honor for me to talk about Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan, our spiritual father, mentor, and a model scholar who demonstrated in his life a comprehensive but a moderate personality, who was concerned for the intellectual training of not only his colleagues but also professors, students, everybody. I consider myself a luckiest person because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose me and brought me here in Malaysia to join this noble university, International Islamic University, Malaysia. On 27 July 1987, around 11 a.m., I met Professor Kamal Hassan, a handsome personality with a smiling face, and he embraced me and he gave me a feeling that I am here with my old and long friends. He did not pose himself as administrator or as a Sheikh of Kuliya at that time for Center for Fundamental Knowledge. That impression lasted until his death. And I started rebuilding my personality, my thinking in his company. I am thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I had a chance to work with him as my Sheikh of Kuliya of Center for Fundamental Knowledge. I selected this university because when I came to know about this university, it is an Islamic university, and this university aims to rebuilding the Islamic culture and civilization. So I applied and I got offer and I joined this university. When I met Ustad Mukhtar Shafi, at that time he was the Dean for Center for Fundamental Knowledge, and Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan as the in charge for academic affairs of that center, CFK. After meeting both of them, I realized that I have come to a really very good place, because during my student life, I was involved in some of the way, in some or the other Islamic Dawah activities. I realized that instead of doing Dawah in localities among masses, I am here to do and continue the Dawah work inside the classroom in a systematic manner. So Alhamdulillah, I learned many things and I started reforming my mind how to teach the courses. The first thing Professor Kamal Hassan advised me was that I am giving you a course which I used to teach, the history of modern scholarship in the Muslim world. So that course he assigned to me, and he told me that all other teachers will also attend your lecture. So Professor Khabaronia, Professor Tamim Musama, and Professor Dr. Manuti and other brothers and sisters also attended my first lecture, which I delivered in this university first time. Before I prepare my lectures, I went to Professor Kamal Hassan to his office and I asked him few questions. So he gave me some instructions, as well as he asked me to read certain specific books. I asked him, can I, sir, come every time to your office? Because his office was not an office, but a library. As you can see here, this library was also his office. So, full of books, magazines, journals, newspapers, and many, many things. So, I used to borrow from his office all necessary material for preparation of my lectures. At that time, emphasis was on the production of Muslim professionals with good Islamic background, with excellent morals. At that time, we had in our mind how to do Dawah work so that we can turn our student into Islamic personality. That was the notion of Islamization of knowledge. But Islamization of knowledge was not really the target of the university at that time. That was the notion of Islamization in general, not Islamization of knowledge. I said Islamization of knowledge because nowadays we are listening about Islamization of knowledge. But in the beginning, almost 4 years, our focus was on the production of good Islamic personalities. we used to attend Ibadah camps every month during one semester for 4 weeks. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we will stay together with students. From there, I started learning about Professor Kamal Hassan, his behavior, his smiling, his interaction with students, and he became a role model for me. And when he became convinced with Islamization of knowledge, again he dedicated himself to that. I will speak about that later on. Now, at this moment, I want to say that I deliver lectures first semester, second semester, third semester, and also I used to attend his lectures. Then I changed my teaching methodology. I was serious lecturer at that time. I started following Professor Kamal Hassan's style, making some jokes during the lecture, attracting the students' attention to certain other things, and posing certain challenging questions. I think after that I was asked to teach a course for a diploma in Singapore. I went there and I started teaching that course. The class was generally held at 7:30 after Maghrib prayer, and it will go until 11 o'clock. So in between there will be a break, for tea break. So I told my student that was my first lecture there in Singapore. I told my student that we have taken our dinner, and this is the good time to feel sleepy and sleep. You can sleep in my class. Something like this. But after, when I started my lecture and the break was announced, a student went outside. The organizer came and she told me, Ustad, I attended your classes in IIUM. You were a boring lecturer at that time. But now I am hearing all the students are admiring you and telling us that this is the best lecturer till date which we listened or we heard to our teachers from UIA. I said, this credit goes to Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan. He really impressed me. Islamization of personality, Islamization of teaching methodology as well. He categorically mentioned that we have to first explain, if we are teaching a course related to contemporary knowledge, their point of view inside the discipline, then their critical approach we should share with our students, then we should bring the Islamic perspective, then we should bring the criticism from Islamic scholars, and then you should share your own independent opinion. That was the teaching methodology, and I consider this teaching methodology as Islamization of methodology, in fact. After that, whenever I went to take lunch in the campus, I saw Professor Kamal Hassan in the canteen. One day I asked him, Prof, always I saw you in the canteen during the lunch. He said, Dr. Mumtaz, we are murabbi to our students. We have to sit with them, we have to guide them, we have to observe them. We cannot be disassociated with them. I learned from there. He also told me that in another time, help your students, Allah will help you. In canteen, he told me, be with your students. At some other time, he told me, help your students. So I took these two advices seriously, and till date I practiced them. As a result of that, of course, teacher efficiency rating system is here, right? So students rate our teaching and our thing. I feel that I am teaching still here in this university. So in this, Professor Kamal's contribution is obviously tremendous, because the way he started teaching, the way he was giving lecture, I learned from him and I practiced that. As a result of that, always I receive higher appreciation from my students. Meeting students, talking to them, solving their problems, showing them a smiling face. Whenever, as academic staff, I had the problem. For example, at that time, 3 children were given school fees, but not for kindergarten and upper kindergarten. So I used to go to Professor Kamal and ask him, sir, can you help us to discuss this issue with finance department? Never he said no. Whenever I drafted an application, never he said, I have no time. He will take his pen, he will correct everything, and he will ask, now you take this application and give wherever you want to give it. Never he disappointed. Never he said that I am busy, you come some other time. He will give full attention. The other day I was giving a lecture for iftar gathering in my department. So I referred to the advice of Hazrat Luqman to his son. So one of the advice that he gave was, pay attention to the people. And I felt that Professor Kamal took that lesson from the Surah Hazrat Luqman. And always he paid attention to teachers, colleagues and students. He was really a practicing Muslim, a living practicing model. Islamization in general was our target. So I don't hesitate to declare, to acknowledge that in this university, under the patronage of Professor Kamal Hassan, 36 years I had the chance to work with him. I cannot, if I want to deny, I cannot deny his influence on my personality, on my teaching method, my methodology, on my other things. Inshallah, I will share some other aspects later on. I am thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who provided me a company of a professor like Professor Kamal Hassan, and I am thankful to Professor Kamal Hassan, to his family, and always I make dua for him. When he was alive, I was making dua for his excellent health. When he passed away, I am making dua for him for excellent reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you, Dr. Jannah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Such a valuable sharing. I cannot help but feel what you said. Very insightful. Thank you very much, Prof. I would like now to shift our focus a little bit from the perspective of a then aspiring young scholar who joined IIUM and was changed from a very serious person to one that is very approachable to students, thanks to the influence of Prof. Kamal Hassan. Allah yarham. So I'm going to change my focus to one who actually studied and then teaches at the university, Professor Dr. Muhammad El-Tahir El-Masawi. He too is a senior professor at the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion, KIR, KHS, IIUM. Usul Fiqh. Usul Fiqh, yeah? I got you wrong then.
But I graduated from Usuluddin.
All right, he graduated from Usuluddin. Thank you for the correction. I understand that you obtained your master's degree and PhD from IIUM, Prof.
Yes.
Prof. Tahir, in 10 minutes, could you please share with us the impacts that Prof. Kamal, the visionary scholar, had on your personal and professional developments from your student years to the times that you served the university as a colleague of Al-Marhum Prof?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you very much, Dr. Nur Jannah. and thanks for Centris to allow us this important opportunity to share our not just thoughts but also emotions about one of the luminaries of the Muslim Ummah in general and of this university in particular, the late Al-Marhum Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan, may Allah bless his soul.
Ameen.
When I joined IIUM towards the end of 1991, I did not really have the chance to know Professor Kamal Hassan. It was only about 1 year later, the end, September 1992. It was during an international seminar or conference organized on Malik bin Nabi, organized by Professor Othman Bakar and some other people. And from there, I had the chance to know about Professor Kamal Hassan in person. Maybe I had heard about his name before, but I did not have the chance really to encounter him. And it is interesting, perhaps what made Professor Kamal Hassan interested in a student like me. I was just doing my master's. The occasion was that I presented a paper on Malik bin Nabi, and I was still doing my master's. And because of that, Professor Kamal Hassan, I can say that he adopted me. Somehow, he adopted me. I don't know whether the paper was really very impressive, but because of his interest in Malik bin Nabi perhaps, and scholars and thinkers like him. So, and he saw that someone at this stage still struggling with his MA was talking about such a grand mind or a big mind like Malik bin Nabi, made him interested, and I can say really a kind of adoption. He adopted me, and the relationship became more intimate. So he was really addressing me, talking to me, not just as a student. So whenever we had the opportunity to meet, and this used to happen mostly at the office of the rector, Datu Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Allah yarhamu, because I knew Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman before even I came to IIUM, and I used from time to time to go to office, and Prof. Kamal was his deputy. And sometimes he would open a discussion, and with the late Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, and some kind engages me in it. And this really made me feel inspired how this great man, of course, and his colleague, the rector of the university at the time, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, would be interested to groom some kind, and this later opened to some other students. I think Prof. Kamal Hassan had the eye to observe, and perhaps he would be asking from time to time about some students in whom he would see some kind of potential that they may be useful in the future for the university. And I think that gave me much inspiration, much confidence in myself. So when I embarked later and was encouraged to do my MA thesis, I remember that the late Muhammad Arif, Arif Zakaullah, who was in economics, because I took some course with him and others, and his relationship with Prof. Kamal Hassan was very strong, a kind of intimate relationship. And Prof. Arif Zakaullah, Muhammad Arif Zakaullah, suggested to me, why don't you go on with your MA on Malik bin Nabi? Don't just deviate, since you have started and people have been appreciating this start. So better you continue on that path. And alhamdulillah, that was really interesting, because it gave me, opened to me the door, a wide door, to engage in Islamic thought at a very high level. Writing on Malik bin Nabi was not really something easy, but was challenging due to the sophistication and complexity of his thought. So that stage of my life as a student went on, and then I was involved, was appointed to as a lecturer in the Kulliyah, but seconded to IIIT to take care of the journal Islamiyat al-Ma'rifah, which was established actually at the campus. The IIIT had its office in PJ within that small campus, and I was then taken to be responsible for the initiation and preparation for that journal. And this continued until the late Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman thought of having another journal, At-Tajdid, because Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman wanted also to have some kind of specific to the university. The Islamiyat al-Ma'rifah was something branded as IIIT journal. So Abu Sulaiman thought of another project, and I was asked to suggest a name, a person whom they can trust with taking this task. So I was thinking, trying to scratch my memory, and they told me, never mind, whether from this university or outside, and wherever the person might be, don't worry. So I came up with a suggestion, and alhamdulillah, the suggestion was accepted, and the guy was called from Paris, our friend, he was his colleague in the department, Dr. Muhammad bin Nasr. And I remember when, because we were sharing the same office, both journals, so we wanted for the first issue of At-Tajdid that something should come from Prof. Kamal Hassan. And we were from time to time, going to his and meet him, and of course try to give the spectrum of the new journal, what it about, because Abu Sulaiman was very meticulous. You have to do this, even about how to devise the sections and to name the sections of the journals. He was very concerned about that. And then we wanted a lead article by Prof. Kamal Hassan. And alhamdulillah, I remember he was saying, I'm not good in writing in Arabic. So I think Abu Sulaiman told bin Nasr, don't listen to what he's saying. Just ask him to get the article in Arabic. Don't get it in English. So Prof. Kamal Hassan, when he was told that his boss is saying this, oh my dear, I know he had high regard and respect for the late Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, and that they were very close and intimate relationship actually between them. So, Alhamdulillah, Prof. Kamal Hassan managed with a few weeks to come up with a very interesting article, and really it was the lead article. It's something about Islam and Islamic thought in the Malay world. And you can now go to the archives of At-Tajdeed and you will find that important article. And then came his travel to the US on visiting professorship. This was perhaps 1997 or something like that. I cannot exactly remember. But when he came back, and assumed his directorship of the university, then a new stage in my relationship with Professor Kamal Hassan opened, and it was more intimate and actually more engagement and discussions from time to time, even when he got certain guests, academic guest thinkers, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. I remember I attended a number of such sessions where he would invite others like Ibrahim Zain and others to just get engagement and portray the vision of IIUM as an institution trying to embrace the approach of integration or Islamization of knowledge with a different understanding and new horizon of thought. That's just in brief. Actually, one can go on and on talking about different aspects and incidents and circumstances, but time does not allow us to go further. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor. A very precious insight indeed. We now move on to Professor Dr. Akram Zaki, who has been serving at the Kulliyah of Information and Communication Technology IIUM after the completion of his PhD in ICT at the university. Prof. Akram served as at Centris as the Deputy Director and for sometimes as the Acting Director as well, altogether from 2013 to 2021, correct? Yes. So, Prof, in about 10 minutes or so, please tell us your most valuable experiences and lessons as a former Deputy Director and Acting Director of Centris and an expert in ICT and data analytics, working with the exceptionally visionary scholarly figure that was Prof. Kamal. Prof?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you very much, Dr. Nurjanna. Thanks to Center for Islamization for organizing such important session to remember our scholar, the father of this university, the one who wrote the concept paper, the one who wrote the vision and mission of the university. Actually, I don't know Prof. Kamal as a rector because I joined after that. I know him as a figure, I know him as a speaker in seminar, in workshop, in conferences. I know him as a scholar. I remember, I think in 2010, Prof. Kamal applied through RMC to establish research unit called IOHK Research Unit, Islamization of Human Knowledge Research Unit, or sometimes we call it Research Cluster. And at that research unit, the Prof. Kamal was the coordinator of that research unit. And the members of the research unit are professors from this university, Prof. Ibrahim Zain, Prof. Rosnani, Prof. Dato Arif, Prof. Aslam, Prof. Walid, and others as well. So I joined that research unit, and he welcomed me because he wanted the research unit not only to include the seniors of the university, but to include professor, associate, and assistant professors as well. We conducted through that research unit meetings, workshops. Actually, Islahi program was under that research unit. And the first World Congress on Integration and Islamization was also started under that research unit. I still have a minute in 2012 in March that signed by him is a recommendation to establish IOHK Center. So later on, the centuries was founded, so Center for Islamization. So based on that minute of the meeting, so only a few months, so because the minute was for March 2012 and the establishment of centuries was in July. So only 4 months. After that, the director was appointed in September, Dr. Hazizan. Of course, Dr. Hazizan was also one of the members of that research unit. And I remember Prof. Kamal called me and he invited me to be a deputy director. I cannot remember when exactly, but I remember in the same call, he invited me to attend the wedding of his youngest son in Putrajaya. So in the same call, so that means before the wedding should be 2 weeks plus minus. I accepted the invitation for the wedding, but I tried my best not to accept the other one. I remember during the wedding, he gave a talk, he made a joke, as Prof. Mumtaz mentioned just now. He was talking about the mafia and so on. I don't want to mention the mafia of what. So ended by joining Centuries as a deputy director, and I served Centuries for almost 8 years. I remember at the beginning when I joined Centuries, one of my colleagues here in IIUM told me it's a very good position because you will learn a lot from Prof. Kamal. So he was the advisor of that research unit of Centuries, of Center for Islamization. And after that, that research unit that was established and was led later on by Dr. Hazizan. I remember one of my visit to follow up with RMC about that research unit. The deputy director of RMC told me that Prof. Kamal higher than this position, because this is just a coordinator, but definitely Prof. Kamal, his position is much higher than this research unit. So in Centuries, I was very close to Prof. Kamal, especially when he moved from Istak to Gumba. He always attend and join activities of Centuries meeting. He joined the meeting, follow the agenda, quiet and very humble. And sometimes he cover the director when the director is absent or on leave. He receive a guest, he receive a student, sometimes they want to do interview with him, survey, questionnaire, he correct their language, he try to help. I know him that joining the 5 prayers at masjid, joining always the ibadah kam and qiyam, and joining i'tikaf, especially in the Ramadan, last 10 nights of Ramadan, he used to sleep in this room and join the i'tikaf and tahajjud. I remember in the few years back, he was sick, 2017, 18, he was sick. So I told him, Prof, what about i'tikaf this year? He was very sad because not able to join i'tikaf. So in Centuries, we organize a few programs in Istak, Gumba, Kuantan. We stay together in the guest house in Istak, travel together. So I know him accept the invitation from everyone when they invite him to deliver a talk, to give a speech, and also doesn't accept the allowance, because many times as a speaker, as a guest speaker, as a keynote speaker, usually some events they give a token of appreciation, but he doesn't accept, and he doesn't want people to call him as a Tansiri, although he is having that title. I remember when he launched this library, he sponsored everything, the food, including the sign, including everything. We joined the launching of this library. And I remember during the one visit of Dr. Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, he also sponsored the dinner to welcome Dr. Abu Sulaiman, and he was respecting him a lot. And he always asked me about my family, about my father, about my kulliya. He's very sincere. He worked with itqan, respecting other, very diplomatic. A few years back, we was publishing a book about prophetic leadership. I asked him to contribute a chapter, a leading chapter in that book. He asked me to remind him after a certain date. I reminded him, and he, within 2 days, I think, he gave me the full chapter, and very useful and very important chapters. I don't know how he managed to write the chapter, very long chapter, within that very short period of time. I remember one other event, somebody asked him, how did you write this concept paper in very short time? He said, I like doing it. And last time also I provided him my write-up on Islamization, very small and short write-up. He replied to me very long feedback. I was expecting just a few words to ask me to add, to remove, to whatever comment, but he wrote almost 2 pages, giving comments and feedback, and some referring to some references, and so on. He never stopped promoting and talking about Islamization. He always he always insist, he always promote the Islamization in this university. Although he never insist of using Islamicization, he was preferring to use Islamicization, but he never insist. He was always focused on the sincerity of people, and the terms, it can be adjusted, but he really focused on Islamization. Of course, a lot of contribution was done by him, Al-Marhum, rahimahullah, and I think for me, I learned a lot from him, and may Allah bless his soul. Thank you very much, Dr. Jannah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. What you said make my mind to flash back to those years. Thank you very much. Now we are on round 2. Let us now focus on integration, Islamization, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence, or known as Triple I's, which is the crystallized mission of the IIUM as part of Prof. Kamal's legacy. We go back to Prof. Tahir Masawi. Prof, as a senior professor of KIRKHS, how has Prof Kamal's message on triple ice affected you and your works as a scholar?
Thank you so much again. And actually, let me just start by saying a word as a prelude. When Prof Kamal Hassan took over as rector, the university was actually going through a quite critical period, and turbulent times were facing it. And by his wisdom and considerate administration and management, he was able really to navigate the university's march and enable it to overcome whatever obstacles could face it on the way. So this from the administrative side and the management side. But most importantly, after that, Prof Kamal Hassan, it seems he was very much concerned about the future of the university in the long run and its personality as an institution, its character, its mission. And that's why he came up with this very impressive move to make people think. And I remember there was the discussions, and on many occasions discussions involving different people were invited from sometimes to his office at the rectorship, sometimes he will meet people, and I had the chance to be part of some of those discussion circles, and he was as if to let people think and try to see how people really were visualizing the future. But he has the agenda. His agenda, it seems to me, was to really ground the mission and vision and objectives of the university in a solid framework. And as a result of that intellectual engagement, in which he involved different people from different kulliyas and from different levels, emerged this triple ICE, or triple ICE, the Islamization, integration, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. And to institute that and ground it in the institution was a move by Prof Kamal Hassan to make it something solid, stable, so that no one will easily try to deviate or get the university out of its original track. And I think that was a very wise and very far-looking act which Prof Kamal Hassan undertook. And then to make this a general awareness among the students and among the academic staff, the academics throughout the university, the posters carrying those things were put in each and every lecture room and even in some offices. And I think this was a very interesting thing, because when a student or when students and their lecturer come into the classroom, and then they see that there is nothing else except these, I think there are three posters that were hanging on the walls. So any serious person would ask questions about what does this mean. And I remember when I had the chance to teach classes, whether for undergraduate or postgraduate, in such lecture rooms, especially at the beginning of the semester, I would take some time to initiate the people, because some people, some students, whether from this university or coming from abroad, might not necessarily know about what that meant. So this will give the chance anyone serious actually and committed or aware of the university's vision and the university character, especially distinctive character, would be it would be wise on him or her to start with what was hanging on the wall. And I used to take the opportunity, especially at the beginning of each semester, to do whatever I can to initiate the students or to explain to them and to introduce them to what those four letters mean. And the other thing which Prof. Kamal Hassan did to ground Islamization, integration, etc., in the university was to overcome some misunderstanding, because at some time some people from Islamic studies disciplines were wondering and would wonder and even go to the level of claiming that Islamization does not have anything to do with them. Islamization is something just concerning humanities, human sciences, social sciences, economics, but we are already Islamic as students and lecturers of Islamic disciplines, so we don't need this thing called Islamization. And to resolve this issue, Prof. Kamal Hassan came with the concept of relevantization, meaning that we, or those who are specialized in Islamic studies and with their different variations, they need to make what they study and what they teach relevant to the contemporary world, to the day-to-day concerns of people, and relate the teachings and the values and the principles and criteria of Islam to the concerns and problems of our contemporary life and contemporary society. And I think that was a very important move to overcome this kind of misunderstanding or concern. The other thing, when he came up with a whole big list classifying the different levels of Islamization, I think it was something more than 10 or perhaps more than 15. I cannot remember the exact number, but he devised it in a certain in a manner that each and every person on campus, especially the lecturers and also the students, especially at the postgraduate studies, would be able to contribute something in this direction. So Islamization, not just you go to the higher level and the more sophisticated level dealing with epistemology and all this, but also whatever thing you can contribute within this general framework and open framework, and actually very dynamic framework. So that was a very important thing. And I think in that way, Professor Kamal Hassan was able to provide many conditions and many, to say, means and tools to keep Islamization of knowledge and the whole mission of IIUM on track and in an integrated manner. So, but to what extent this has become a general culture, a common culture among IIUM community, which is actually a large community, this perhaps needs to be relooked into again. But certainly no one actually can deny the fact that Professor Kamal Hassan, inspired by all what he has done, what I tried to just tell in brief, was able to inspire or at least provide the proper atmosphere and perhaps the kind of finding one's room in this wide spectrum of Islamization and integration. I think that's a very important thing that should be remembered, and Prof. Kamal Hassan really should be thanked a lot, because he was able to save the university and keep it on track during those turbulent times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Tahir Masawi. That was very, insightful and very important for us to realize this fact, historical fact. Prof. Akram, your take, Prof. As a professional, a researcher, and an academic in the field of ICT, how has your understanding of triple I's affected or influenced your teaching and professional works, Prof?
Thank you very much, Dr. Jannah. As you know, that triple I's is crystallizing the vision and mission of the university. If you go through the 7 vision of the university, we can understand better what do we mean by triple I's. And of course, when we go deeply for teaching and learning, we need more details, more method on how to apply this triple I's in the classroom. And this policy and guideline on Islamization was published by Center for Islamization is very good foundation of this triple I's. Can tell us a lot of information, can open a lot of doors. Of course, will not give us the details on each subject, because every subject has different specialization, different cases, different examples, different scenarios, but this one can give us the background. And just now, Prof. Tahir also give us very good background on triple I's. And when we come to the classroom, for example, ICT and engineering and other applied science, we can learn a lot from this small book about the implementation on how to apply the Islamization in the teaching and learning. Of course, we start with the vision and mission of the human being, the creation, why we are here, what is the purpose of the creation, and then the vision of the student in this university of teaching and learning, and then we go for another stage, the objective of the course. So 3 levels, starting from the objective of the creation to the objective of the teaching and learning, and then we go deeply for the objective of that specific course. Of course, this one cannot be started without having the good intention. So we need to remind the student to start with the good intention, to correct the niyyah, to establish the niyyah, to be sincere, to have ikhlas in their study in order to achieve the best. We need to motivate and encourage students and inform them that this is a part of fardu kifaya, so that they should have the responsibility, amana, their duties of teaching and learning. Of course, we need also to, in the teaching and learning, we need to teach them about the integration, to link between aql and naql, between wahi and the human knowledge, and specifically for that subject that we teach, whether ICT and engineering or other applied science. We need to inform students about the big picture, not only focusing on that specific course without having a big image, to need to know what is this course about and what is the link with other subjects, and to see the overall picture so they can understand better. Link with other courses and show them that this course and this subject that they are studying is part of Islamic civilization. Of course, we need also to give some philosophical background. Why this subject? What is the important? Can we ignore it? It was exist 500 or 1,000 years ago. It will be exist another 100, 500 years from now, because some courses, as you know, are very fast changing, especially in ICT. When we study the programming language, they are very recent subject, and definitely after a few years from now, it will not be exist anymore. But of course, a lot of philosophical background when we talk about a programming language. What is the language? Why we need a language? About communication, about many things. As an example for a programming language, but others as well, other subject as well. When we talk about computer organization, when we talk about object-oriented, about other courses, multimedia, a lot of philosophical background. So a lot of a question we need to ask. We need to study also the history of that subject. Actually, this information you will find it in this policy and guideline. In between, you can pick up. So the history of that subject and how this course started, and the change in this course, the development of this course. Also good to link the subject with Islamic scholar contribution. A lot of contribution was done by Muslim scholars, Al-Razi, Ibn Sina, Al-Khawarizmi, and Ibn Nafis, Ibn Al-Haytham, and many others. It's good to show the heritage of Muslim scholars and to differentiate between Islamic worldview and other worldview, because the Muslim scholar, when they develop their different subjects, they did not register copyright for their knowledge and protected their knowledge and so on, and patent and so on. So this is one of the things that need to inform the student, that the idea is to share knowledge, is to transfer knowledge to next generation, is to separate knowledge, not to hide, always to advise others, always to transfer knowledge to others. So when we talk also about Islamic worldview, we need to mention at the beginning of the Tawheed that all what we are teaching should be based on Tawheed. And of course the Aqidah and Sharia and Akhlaq, the three principles of our religion, and the need to also separate the principles of Imaratul Ard and Istikhlaf, and other principles as well, the justice and mercy and so on. Is need to link our subject to Maqasid al-Sharia, protecting of life, protecting of religion, and also how to serve the community, how to serve the society from this course. Also is another things need to be done. So all these are yes, it's triple ICE is very short term, but actually a lot of embedding principles behind it. Also how to transfer this theory to application, to make use of it, how to have a foundation, Islamic, Quranic and Quran and Hadith foundation for that knowledge. A lot of things you can find it from this policy and guideline about how to. Of course, in ICT we don't have a big problem with correction, with removing, with re-establishment. Maybe other subject they need to correct, need to criticize the topic and so on. But in ICT, less a problem. Although we need some time to correct when I teach, for example, multimedia, sometimes I find some photos, unsuitable photos to be presented for a student. So this is just a reflection about the triple I's in the classroom, in the teaching and learning in ICT based. Thank you very much, Dr. Jannah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Really, triple I's is a very short acronym, but reaching far and wide universally. Thank you very much. Now we move to Prof. Mumtaz. You have been teaching Islamization course, and I personally know that your family and your commitment are very much towards Islamization. How has Prof. Kamal's message affected or influenced you and your family, for that matter, in terms of the propagation of Islamization works? Prof?
Okay, thank you, dear Dr. Noor Jannah, again, giving me this time. I want to cover 3 things here under this. As a Malay scholar, Professor Kamal Hassan accepted the vision of the mission of Islamization of knowledge. Not only accepted, he included in the constitution of IIUM. What is IIUM? Many people, I feel till date, have no vision of our university, International Islamic University, Malaysia. This is the book, Shaping Global Islamic Discourses, a study of role of Al-Azhar, Al-Madina and Al-Mustafa. Author says clearly in this book that Al-Azhar represents a traditional point of view, Al-Madina Salafi school of thought, and Al-Mustafa Shia school of thought. It was a challenge to establish an international Islamic university in contemporary times. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who selected Professor Kamal Hassan for this task. And Professor Kamal Hassan included his blood in the concept paper. In the presence of these universities and in subcontinent, Darul Deoband, Nadwatul Ulma, other Islamic institutions, coming up with an international Islamic university was a challenge, intellectual challenge in fact. And surprisingly, historian will note this fact. This university did not start with the Kuliya of Sharia, the Kuliya of Usuluddin. Why? Being an Islamic university, Kuliya must teach first Islamic studies, faculty of Islamic studies. Never these terms were used in IIUM. Professor Kamal always said, we are not repeating Al-Azhar or Al-Madina. This is a unique university, different university. So he shares Center for Fundamental Knowledge concept, not the Islamic studies concept. A fundamental knowledge has to be imparted to all the students of all the faculties, department, whatever. What is that fundamental knowledge? Not Islamic studies, not Sharia sciences. Later on, departments were developed in the name of Usuluddin, Usulul Fiqh. I am sure that was not the mission of the university in fact. What happened later on when the Kuliya came? Again, Professor Kamal Hassan and Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman worked together jointly and came up with the idea of Islamic revealed knowledge and human sciences. Again, no faculty of Islamic studies. Recently, I think 6 months or 7 months before or 1 year now, when Centris made the announcement that they are offering a diploma in Islamic studies, so I wrote to the then director, Dr. Akmal, that we never used the term Islamic studies in IIUM. Later on I thought that I should also share with Professor Kamal Hassan, so I sent him WhatsApp message. He said, "You are right, Dr. Mumtaz, I will draw attention to them towards that issue." This university wanted to demonstrate that Islam as a worldview and way of life has directives to all aspects of life. So this university is not focusing only on some dimension in a religious sense. That is why when Islamic revealed knowledge and human sciences term was coined, we were writing on Islamic revealed knowledge division. I was not comfortable with that term Islamic revealed knowledge division. So I came up with this term, Islamic revealed knowledge disciplines. And I realized that later on other people also started using the term Islamic revealed knowledge disciplines. What is my area of study? My field of study? Center for Fundamental Knowledge, Islamic revealed knowledge disciplines. In this Islamic revealed knowledge disciplines, at present we have fiqh, usuluddin, Quran and Sunnah studies. So how to study these? Can we apply the term Islamization of knowledge? I repeatedly said yes, we can apply this term. But Professor Kamal Hassan came up with the term relevantization of these disciplines. When I reflected, I realized that he is right. I should not emphasize any more on that. I should accept relevantization. Why? What does it mean? Because whatever we are teaching in the name of the Sharia faculty, Usuluddin faculty, fiqh and usulul fiqh, 80% material is repeated, imitated. Professor Kamal Hassan argued we need to examine, re-examine, analyze, criticize and bring up to the level of contemporary times. All disciplines in Islamic revealed knowledge division must reflect the contemporary relevance, because these are the disciplines which are helping contemporary society to flourish based on a sound foundation of knowledge. These disciplines are contributing towards the development of culture and civilization. We are in fact providing an alternative model of education. We are not accommodating. We are working for an alternative model of education. In that alternative model of education, everything has to go with the process of evolution in thought. I used to argue in my class on Islamization of knowledge. I said, we are teaching fiqh and usulul fiqh for centuries. What is the development in terms of culture and civilization? In what way we should approach these two terms and these two areas of discipline? In what way? Are we just drawing ahkam? Are studying how to draw the ahkam? Or we are providing what kind of thought has to be developed? Because liyatafaqahu fi ddin, the term which was used in the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah, refers to the reflection, thinking and thought. So Professor Kamal Hassan, with the use of relevantization, wanted to influence all of us, academics, students, masters and PhD, that we have to rethink everything. Read clearly his definition of relevantization. He said we have to examine, re-examine, be critical, analytical, and provide the new insights. You cannot do this. Third dimension comes in without Islamizing your own self. Under Islamization of knowledge, relevantization and Islamization of self are integral part. What does it mean? Islamization of self. I have to realize as a teacher what is my duty in International Islamic University. How can I present Islam as a religion in a mere limited sense, or as worldview, way of life, source of culture and civilization? How do I present Tawheed as an aqidah, doctrine, dogma, or the absolute truth and reality of the entire universe? How do we view Tawheed? What are the terminologies which are used by Christians in their theology? Are we using the same terminologies? Theology, for example, doctrine, for example. Kamal Hassan wanted to re-examine, Abdul Hamid wanted to re-examine all these things. For that purpose, teacher has to Islamize himself. Teacher has to have a profound understanding of Islam. Islam is not at all, in a limited sense, a religion. But I am hearing in Jummah Khutbah also, and here and there, that our academic staff demonstrating nowadays, using the word our religion. Is Islam our religion? Whenever I listen Khatib who says our religion, I cry in my heart. This was not the mission, this was not the vision of Professor Kamal Hassan. I am sure if any student conduct research from the first working paper to until the working paper for the establishment of the Kuliya of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, he never used the term religion for Islam. He presented Islam as the worldview, the way of life, and based on that he wanted to come up with a fresh thought, a thought which can lead the humanity in every area of discipline, in every area of human thought. Our thought has to become a leading. Leading the way does not mean that we are just leading the jalan. Leading the way means our thought has to become dominant, acceptable in such a way that the intellectuals of the world must pay their attention to this thought. That is the meaning of International Islamic University. I ask my student, why do we call this university international? They say, door is open for all nationalities. I say, no. We have accepted consciously the challenge of teaching at the level of international standard. The Oxford, Harvard University has only one perspective, that is Western perspective. But IIUM students have Western and Islamic perspective, who must be superior in terms of understanding the intellectual, conceptual, theoretical issues of the contemporary time. The graduates of IIUM or Oxford or Harvard or Cambridge. This is the challenge. This is the meaning of being an international Islamic university. This is my mission. This is my vision. Recently in IIUM today I have contributed my aspirations of my life, a small article. In that I said that Islamization of knowledge is not the agenda of the Islamic Ummah alone. As Taha Jabir Alwani has argued, Islamization of knowledge is an alternative civilizational discourse, and it is related to the entire humanity. And I feel that with the slogan of LGBT, the humanity is moving towards total destruction. Allah's curse may come on the whole humanity. There is no major voice from the Islamic world against this evil. IIUM must become a champion against this kind of evils and must pose a challenge. The book of Altaf Gawhar, which was edited in 1976, in which Professor Naqib al-Attah's article occupies the third position, the only book, The Challenge of Islam. We don't have any other book in the name of Challenge of Islam. We are trying to accommodate. We are apologetic. We are defensive. International Islamic University stands to become aggressive in the sense that they have ilmul yaqeen, ainul yaqeen, haqqul yaqeen. Based on yaqeeniyat, we present our scholarship. We share our point of view. We do not have to feel shy. We are not going for mediating, reconciliation, or we are not raising the slogans of liberal Islam, progressive Islam, modern Islam. This university, as I said, does not represent any school of thought, any sectarian approach. This university, thanks to Professor Kamal Hassan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am 100% sure, will place him in the Jannatul Firdaus at an excellent place because of only conceiving this university as the university of Ummah and humanity. I consider this university the university of the Ummah and humanity. Humanity is directly involved in this university. Without involving the in humanity, we cannot achieve the mission of this university. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Thank you very much, Dr. Jannah. I became a little bit emotional because this university is in my ruh, in my body, in my blood. And thanks to Professor Kamal Hassan, thanks to Abdullah bin Abu Sulaiman, they represented Islam and they represented the dreams of the Ummah, not any sect. Even this country, majority of the people, Malays, follow Shafi'i school of thought. But in this university, we are not focusing on Shafi'i school of thought. We are focusing on the Quran and Sunnah. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Mumtaz. Very powerful short presentation by you. We go now to round 3. We are running out of time, so it could be very quickly, inshallah. Taking on IIUM's philosophy, vision, and mission as part of Prof. Kamal's legacy in the face of the challenges of today and in leading tomorrow. Professor Akram, please share with us your aspirations and vision in taking this ummatic legacy of Prof. Kamal's forward to the future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurjanna, about this important question. Let me start with telling you that sorry that there is no website specifically for Prof. Kamal Hassan. Collecting his publications, his work, except of part of Century's website. I know that this is your effort. Thank you very much for your initiative to collect his publications, his material, and paste in the Century's website. But of course, the need is much more than this. Not only combining some of the latest publication, but we want all of them, not only in PDF format, but we want them in a system, in a database, so we can search, we can reorder based on date, based on event, based on the subject. We need a portal. And when we search for Prof. Kamal in the internet, less information, actually. Even in the Wikipedia, a small page about him, the list of publication is not there. So although he contributed a lot, many publications done by him, but less publication on him. I did not find some books or papers, maybe I did not come across that discussing the contribution of Prof. Kamal Hassan or his work. We need to convert his concept fundamentals to models, the concept of ulul albab, the wasatiyya, and so on. We need also his work to be converted to video format. For example, the book of natural science is very good material to be promoted to student. It should be in the short videos in the YouTube and so on. So we need also to translate his books at least to 3 languages, Arabic, Malay and English. So at least if not more than that. And we also need to continue his project, what he started. For example, the Vision 2077. This show how he concerned about the Ummah, how he think about the next generation, how he think about the Ummah for a long term, from now until 2077. So we need to continue this project. We need to continue what he started in Triple Eyes, promoting the Islamization, to show how to implement Islamization, and also to continue the tazkirah that he started, although he was not well in the last few years, but he initiated a new project for the Ihya Ulum al-Din and Fi Dhilal al-Quran, weekly tazkirah. We need to continue this tazkirah as well. And we need to write about his attitude, about his behavior. So it's very important to show to student this role model, to learn from this role model, and to translate his work to our student and our next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. It calls for our collaborations together with some other kulliyas. We need to do this, but we need people as well as funding, and inshallah we'll work into that. Some of them have already started, but then again, you know, Centris is very tiny, so our efforts are very limited. Thank you very much, Prof. We look forward to working on this with you, inshallah. Prof. Muntaz, what are your aspirations and vision in thrusting Prof. Kamal's discourse on the above forward to the future?
I endorse what Professor
Akram
said just now, everything. And even in this small library also, we can dedicate 2 or 3 shelves to his writing, everything of Professor Kamal at one place.
It is there at the back.
Yes.
It should be at the front, right?
Yeah, it should be at the front.
Right, yeah.
So, and with the name, Professor Kamal's contribution and original writings and
Right.
contributions.
Mhm.
I endorse that one. And number 2, we have to take the banner of Islamization of knowledge to local universities in Malaysia. We must start now collaboration with other universities on this subject of Islamization of knowledge. Because this Islamization of knowledge, I said, is the need of the civilizational development. So we have to do that, number 1. Number 2, as you are the general editor on natural sciences, we can bring that kind of volumes on the papers of Professor Kamal Hassan. That definitely other kulliyah of Islamic revealed knowledge and human sciences can cooperate and contribute for that purpose. And we should start a monumental of Professor Kamal Hassan in our campus somewhere.
A monument?
Some type of this thing. It was my wish, but Professor Kamal Hassan himself provided a will.
Yeah.
This was my wish, and he provided a will, so it was necessary will followed by the family. He was buried somewhere else. In my opinion, he should be buried here in the campus.
It was his will that he was...
Personal will also they respected. Why? Because this, not today, inshallah tomorrow the historian will write about this university and acknowledge the concepts of the founders of this university. number one. Number two, all the visitors, whosoever visit to university, they should come to this library. And at the level of the university, from the rector office, this should be a guideline to the PRO office that all should come here, they should visit, they should know about Professor Kamal Hassan. And annual lectures should be organized, memorial lectures in the name of Professor Kamal Hassan. And the third thing I feel that I will suggest in my kuliya and also in my department that we should start giving some award, gold medal to some students in the name of Professor Kamal Hassan. Thank you very much. It is very suggestion.
Thank you very much, Prof. I am deeply affected, trying to keep myself composed. Thank you very much.
Till date, I don't believe that he has passed away. I feel in front of me. In my
Yes.
WhatsApp message here and there, he used to give me.
His spirit is alive,
His spirit is alive.
and it has to be kept alive.
Yes.
Yes. I am his direct student and direct trustee of this library. So you touched the sensitive note in me that I am now very affected emotionally.
And
Thank
this
you very
library-
much,
This
Prof.
library must stay here in this building. This
Yes,
place.
yes, yes. It is in the will. You can see those 3 documents,
Yes,
Prof.
yes.
These are part of the will
Yes.
of Prof. Kamal Hassan.
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Prof. Tahir, your aspirations and vision, Prof, what do you see are the ways forward regarding Prof. Kamal's legacy on the university's philosophy, vision and mission? Prof?
Okay, thank you again, Dr. Nurjanna, and thanks for my respected colleagues for what they have already submitted and how to go about to the future so as to keep with us not only the memory but also, most important, the aspirations and the motivations and the grand purpose which Prof. Kamal Hassan strived for, and of course this university is its embodiment. And I would like to just suggest some concrete practical things that we should start doing and planning for from now. First of all, and I am sad to say this, the posters of the mission and vision and etc. of the university should be put back in each and every classroom, because I see in most of the classrooms at the first stage they fell down. Some people they were kind enough to put them in a corner, and later they disappeared. Many of them have disappeared. And I think now the university has embarked on some kind of maintenance of the university, and I think one most important aspect of material maintenance is to put back those posters. So whenever students come in, lecturers come in, will be attracted, their attention will be attracted by those things. This is first, and this should not take a long time. It should be an immediate object of action. And I think Centris should take the lead of this, because Centris is entrusted with the issue of Islamization. This is the first one. Second one, we need to plan to organize an international conference, or at least a national conference on Prof. Kamal Hassan. Papers, people should be called to produce papers, contribute papers dealing with the legacy, intellectual legacy of Professor Kamal Hassan in terms of Islamization and of course, and what are the prospects. So not just something telling what he has said, but how to develop and further enhance and widen what Prof. Kamal Hassan has already laid down. This is third thing. Of course, it may be a consequence of the conference, or it can be done independently. We should think of a commemorative volume, a book that should be produced by people who have been in contact in different ways, engaged with Prof. Kamal Hassan, and appreciate and know his contributions, to come up with a volume commemorating his legacy. I think these are three things, and I believe that Centris is well placed to take over these three items and start from now planning to get them. And I appeal not just to Centris, but to all bodies and departments and kulliyas and offices in the university to take up this matter seriously, because he is a theorizing person of the university. He has given it a lot, and he promoted its image, and therefore what we are going to do on behalf of him or in his name is not just for him. He doesn't need anything from us. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless his soul and reside him in paradise. But for the sake of the university and the mission and the ummah and the humanity, these things should have priority among whatever we are thinking about in order to promote this university.
Thank you very much, Prof. Now let's have your last words, Prof. Akram.
Thank you very much. The last word, I started with mentioning about the concept paper of IIUM that he wrote, and I feel that many contribution here in IIUM is part of his Sadaqah Jariyah, because the establishment of the university was because of that concept paper. So all what we are doing here, the research, the teaching and learning, seminars, publications, is part of that Sadaqah Jariyah, inshallah. So his contribution to all of us are huge. So we need to thank him for that contribution. Even I feel that the salary that I am receiving because of that concept paper that he wrote. Otherwise, we will not work here. So I think the loss of Prof. Kamal is a big loss, not only for IIUM, but for the nation, for the whole ummah. I feel that there is no replacement for Prof. Kamal. He's the man of Islamization, man of Iqra, man of triple I's. So we will always remember him when we hear the motto of IIUM, the song of IIUM, the vision and mission and the leading the way of IIUM, Rahmatan lil Alameen. We will remember him. So I hope really that his student and the university will take forward his vision and mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Akram. Prof. Tahir, your last words?
I just would like to again ask everyone to read Al-Fatiha on the soul of the late Prof. Kamal Hassan, and nothing better than reading these verses and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to place him amongst the highest ranks of good people and the select people and the happy people in paradise.
Prof. Mumtaz?
What Professor Tahir said, poster, it is not poster, it is a frame in fact. That should be reinstalled definitely.
Which one?
The poster, mission, vision,
Yeah.
these two things. And how to get the fund, I will tell you privately, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Number
Inshallah.
two, what I am doing, that is my wish that everyone should do. Every semester, every course, undergraduate, masters, PhD, I start when the whole class is full. I give one lecture of at least half an hour introducing International Islamic University in every class. And I do mention about Professor Kamal Hassan, how he prepared the concept paper for the university as well as the Kuliya. So in the actual university introduction is integral to Professor Kamal Hassan's life. So I am doing that, and I feel that everybody should do that. Thank you very much.
Inshallah. Thank you very, very much, professors. Very, I don't have a word for it, a very impactful, a very important and very moving session that we just had. And I'm sure many people, if not all, feel the same way too. We have come to the end of our sharing session. So therefore we will close, and I think it's rather fitting for us to close this with our dua. Inshallah, we will make it every time, that as everyone has reflected, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept Prof. Kamal Hassan, all of his contributions, all of his works, and include him among those that are closest to him, among Anbiya, Shuhada, in Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen. Let us end with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, professors. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.